just good old fun. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going over the M57 pistol that you see here. Take off on the Tok or Tok or Tokarev, however people say it out there. Who the heck knows? I'm not from Serbia. But we'll take a look at this sucker here. This one here is newly manufactured. In the beginning there you saw a dual wielding scene where I was actually shooting the original pistol, the original M57, with this one as well. So we'll go over sort of a comparison between the two. And then additionally just what I think about this gun. But this gun, straight right up front, is a sort of budget priced gun. Is it a budget gun though? That's really kind of the question, I suppose. But for now, we'll keep doing some shooting with it, bringing the steel, testing the function, and then we'll step inside and get into the details on this sucker. The round is certainly a lot of fun. The M57 clearly traces its history back to the Russian TT pistols, or the TT-33 as some folks call them. The Tokarev pistol that replaced the Mosin-Nagant revolvers. It was in service in a lot of combat countries, basically from the 1930s to the 1960s, and eventually the Makarovs did replace it in a lot of places. However, that said, this pistol and pistols like it are still in service both by military and police units around the world to this day. So it's a lasting design, it's a classic design, and it's got a lot of things going for it. So I suppose that's what we're going to get into today. Here we see one of the surplus M57 pistols. You can see a few differences between this and the actual new Zastava M57 that we're actually reviewing here. Just basically, it's going to have the lanyard loop here. The magazines also have the lanyard loop. Now, these ones have the grips with the lanyard loop cut out, but there is no actual lanyard loop on there. So I'm not sure whether they still have the cutout, maybe just a ode to history, if you will. But that is certainly a difference you'll notice off the bat. The biggest difference, though, is going to be the safety lever. So if you look at the safety on the current Zastava M57s that are being imported now, Century Arms is importing these, by the way. They have a purpose-built and designed safety, whereas a lot of the M57s that were imported in the old days were sort of slapped together with a safety. You can see this one here doesn't even have it on there, and that's because a lot of them were just drilled with the hole, so that way they could make it through the importing rules, if you will, in the United States. And sometimes people just put a safety in there, which was no more than a crude piece of sheet metal that was questionable at best. So a lot of folks actually removed those, which mine has been removed as well. This one, on the other hand, is a very common, functional, modern day safety. It's got the similar design to what you see on the Beretta M9 series. So safe is down, fire is up, and if you actually look at the rear of the pistol as we're doing this, if I can get it in the light, it actually has a hammer block as well. So when you're actually engaging it, the hammer block comes up, if I can actually get that in the light, to block the hammer. So it's very similar to what you see in a lot of modern pistols, and it actually allows you to manipulate the side. You can load the pistol with it on safe, and once you are ready to fire, just put it on fire and go. Of course, Tokarev pistols were made in various countries. However, the M57 had an advantage that a lot of them didn't have. It actually had a slightly longer frame, which for folks with big hands like myself certainly fits a lot better. And it also allowed for an additional round in the magazine. So this comes with two 9-round magazines, so 9+1 total capacity of the pistol. As you saw there, the mags are not drop free. However, it sort of pops down like a lot of the old pre-1950s Euro pistols do. And you just have to rip it out and then reload. Speaking of reloading, one interesting thing about the design of the pistol is that if you actually see how the round sits in there, it feeds almost straight into the chamber, kind of like an HK P7. So these pistols, with the nature of the feeding system that you see there, combined with the actual round itself, which we'll get into here in a second, is an extremely reliable pistol. That's one of the things that really the Tokarev pistols have going for it. They have really exceptional reliability, as you expect from a lot of combat guns. They tend to be somewhat crude in appearance, for sure, as well as function, but they do function just like a lot of the combat guns do, and you expect them to do so. Really, this one here has been 100% reliable with any ammunition we've fed it, as you'd expect. From left to right here, we have a 2.23 Remington, then you have your 7.62 by 2.5 Tokarev, and then the 9mm. So getting into the ammo itself, you'll see there that it is relatively similar in size to the 9mm. Actually, it's probably a little bit more similar in length in terms of the 10mm, but it is a neck down bottleneck type cartridge, so you're going to get some serious velocity out of it. This here is the Red Army standard ammo, and incidentally, I mentioned earlier that Century is importing these pistols. Century is now actually importing some ammo, which is really important because in recent years, the 7.62x25 TOC ammo has been hard to come by, but this stuff here is coming in generally in the area of 30 cents a round, so it's really made it more affordable to shoot these pistols again. So, but anyway, back to the actual caliber itself. This bullet here is an 86 grain bullet, and you're going to get some serious velocity. We'll put it on the bottom here. So with a full metal jacket round like this, probably not the best defensive cartridge because you're going to get some over penetration. However, there are some hull point bullets available. I know there are companies out there that reload the Hornady XTP bullet, as well as Wolf and Privy both make factory hollow point options. Like a lot of John Browning inspired designs, the pistol feels extremely good in the hand. It points naturally, sort of like a 1911, and the trigger, albeit heavy, which we'll show you here in a second, is relatively heavy, but it's very crisp. So you'll notice here with the weapon on fire, no magazine in the gun. You cannot fire the gun. That's because it has a mag safety, which I certainly do not like. But many guns of the era had it, including the High Power and several others. So some folks really like it. So if you like it, hey, that's a good feature for you. But the trigger has a little bit of take up here. It's pretty much really no effort to get it to the breaking point, and then once it breaks, it's very crisp. Not quite like a custom 1911 at all, because like I said, it is 8 pounds. There's a little bit of creep to it, but it is a straight back design, so it will feel very crisp. And the reset here, I'll show you that as well, is nice and short and audible and tactile. So while it's 8 pounds, it feels like less, if that makes sense, due to the crisp nature of it. By modern standards, the sights on the pistol are not that great. However, by standards of the day, they're actually pretty good. They're drift adjustable. Both the rear and front are drift adjustable on this pistol, as you can see here, dovetailed into the slide. This one actually came in handy because the pistol was shooting way off. As you can see here, I did have to drift this one over a little bit to get it on, and now it's shooting point of aim, point of impact, so you certainly can't complain about that. Disassembly of the pistol, very similar to a lot of 1911s that you guys may be familiar with. First thing you have to do is remove this little catch here. Some folks use wood. I tend to use the base plate of the magazine. Just kind of push it back. From that point, you take this pin out, slide lock, and it slides right off. If you don't know what's coming the first time you disassemble this pistol and your whole hammer block comes out, you'll be a little bit shocked and think you did something wrong, but it's designed that way. And it's designed that way because it's obviously a combat pistol, and they wanted to be able to replace parts very easily in the field. So it does come out. That is intentional. Do not worry. 1911 guys out there will recognize a lot of what you see here. Here's our recoil spring and guide rod, and unlike the 1911, it is a two-piece guide rod, and you can actually pull it out just like that. As you see here, there is a little bend in there. It's designed that way for function, and it is captive. So it is a spring wrapped around the actual recoil rod, a guide rod, I should say. To take the bushing out, you just rotate it 180 degrees, like I just did there. Pull it straight out, and to remove your barrel, you're just going to push up a little bit and push it forward, just like you would on a 1911. While we have it apart, you'll notice that there are some machine marks on the inside of the pistol, both on the frame as well as on the slide and other parts. Now, on the actual exterior of the pistol, the finish is very nice. It's very even, nice blue-black finish all the way around. But when you get in the inside, you do have some tooling marks, and you got to remember this pistol comes to market, at least as of right now, under $300. In some places, you can actually find it under $250. So, does it affect function? Absolutely not. But it is sort of one of those things that you're going to have to get, if you will, when you're getting a pistol of this quality in terms of manufacturing. But at this price point, they have to sort of skip some steps that like an HK certainly wouldn't do. Now, the barrel here is a cold hammer forged barrel, so certainly no steps being skipped there. Cold hammer forged barrel, it's 4.5 inches long, so able to get good velocity out of that round. And you'll notice the lugs all the way around, and also in the slide, so you can see again a lot of 1911 John Browning inspired influence there in the pistol. Reassembly is just the opposite of disassembly, nothing too complex there. Slide your barrel in. At this point, you can put your bushing on, again 180 degrees, and rotate it down. And unlike some 1911s there, you can actually put your guide rod and spring in now. So that's certainly nice. And due to the, again, the bend that the guide rod has in it, you can actually just kind of slide it in there, make sure your link is up, and get it in place. At this point, just take your hammer pack, put it in your slide, and now just slide your slide on the rails. We're going to take our slide lock, and you can see through there. If you can see through, let me try to move it here so you can actually see. Just slide it off. You'll see when the actual link comes into play. And once you have it lined up like that, I'm going to put our slide stop through. And unlike a 1911, there's no actual requirement to line it up with the notch. You can just kind of push it through once we get it. There you go. Once we get it in. At this point, just slide the little catch over, and the pistol's reassembled. I think I hit most of the big points except for weight so far. This gun is relatively heavy. It's got an all-steel slide, all-steel frame, cold hammer forged barrel. All those things add up to about 31 ounces unloaded. Loaded up, obviously that weight's going to increase, but it is a very thin pistol, being heavy. Despite being heavy, it comes in just under 1 inch wide. So folks who want to have a sort of a concealed carry pistol at a very reasonable cost point, this is one that certainly could fit that role. Another role I think it would fit very well is sort of like a car pistol. If you wanted to sort of stash it in your car, not worry about it, not care if it gets sort of, if it's out in the humidity, if maybe even if it got stolen, it really only costs, a lot of places it's coming in under $250 like I mentioned earlier, so you wouldn't have to worry too much about it. Obviously nobody wants their gun stolen, I get that, but very rugged design that even if it got some lint or dust or whatever in there, it would be fine. I think this gun would do an excellent job in that role. But again, really excellent pistol for the money. The build quality is great, as you'd expect from Zastava and the cold hammer forged barrel, and the history and lineage of this gun for the price point is pretty interesting in my opinion, especially now that the ammo's coming back in. If you guys have any questions about this gun or anything else I would talk about or review here on the channel, you can always post below in the comment section. You guys can also post over at my Facebook page as always. But thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.